What's up, icons? It's the iconic fashion figure back with a new video. And today I'm going to provide you with some terms that you may be using or you'll hear being used in the industry, so that way you can confidently reach out to these manufacturers like you know what you're talking about. So a lot of you may have heard me say some of these terms in some of my videos as I've been taking you on this journey to design your own line. But I'm going to explain to you what these terms are and provide you with some additional terms that you may hear being used in the industry, so that way you know what you're talking about. Because you want to be able to approach these manufacturers with confidence, and you need to let them know that you are confident in what you're talking about so they don't take advantage of you. The last thing I want is for you to be taken advantage of, because they will if they feel like you're a beginner. So I'm going to start out with some of the terms for sketches. So there's a few different types of sketches. For one, you may have fashion illustrations, which are basically fashion drawings that are on a croquis, which is basically a silhouette. So those are usually on a body, and they usually have color, fabric. They can be hand drawn or they can be digital. And then you have flat sketches, which is like what I showed you guys how to create. That's basically a two-dimensional sketch of the basic lines of the garments. So it gives you a sketch of the garment on a piece of paper, or it can be on the computer again. And then you can take that sketch a step further and create a technical sketch, where that shows the full construction and the details and trims on the sketch of what your end garment should be looking like. And that's usually the sketch you would use in your tech pack. Now going into some of the design terms. A tech pack. A tech pack is a document containing all the information on the garment you are creating. So like it'll have those technical sketches in there. It'll have sizes, quantities, colors, measurements, the type of materials you're using, the delivery date you want to have it delivered by, the season, category, all of that is in the tech pack. Anything pertaining to the manufacturing of that garment is included in your tech pack. One of the key points in your tech pack is grading. Grading is basically turning your sample size into additional sizes. So let's say, like for me, my sample size is a size small, but I also sell medium and large. So I would take the measurements for my sample size and grade it up to a medium and up to a large based off the different measurements to obtain my medium and obtain my large. That's usually included in your tech pack, and that's a term you will hear. Another thing that's included in your tech pack is the bill of materials, or BOM. That basically lists out all the materials, the cost, and how much of it you need to use in order to create that garment. Another term you'll hear when it comes to designing the garment is tolerance, which is basically your room for error when creating the garment, whether it can be a little less or a little more. So let's say your tolerance is a ½ inch from the spec given. So it can be a ½ inch less than what you provided or a ½ inch more than what you provided. Tolerance can also refer to the bulk production. So let's say you order 1,000 pieces of a style and you have a 2% tolerance. That's basically telling the factory that 2% of, well, usually the factory will set this, but they'll tell you like 2% of that 1,000 pieces could come out not okay or not up to expectation and will not pass quality control. So you have to give them that 2% allowance, because you have to remember humans are making this and human error happens. Not all of them are 2%. I just threw out that number just to give you an example. Another term you may frequently hear is lab dips. Lab dips are basically the swatch of fabric that they dye to create the color that you're looking for. And then they usually send you a few different lab dips of a specific color that you're trying to achieve, and you pick the best one that matches. I believe I showed you lab dips in like one of the very beginning videos of designing your own line. Let me just put out there's a ton of terms that I can give to you guys. I'm trying to go through some of the top ones that you may hear most often, but trust me, there's a whole lot more. So next I'm going to go into the different type of samples. So one of the first samples you'll usually see is the development sample, which that sample is basically the prototype. So that's the first sample you'll get to bring your garment to life. So it's going from paper to real life. Another sample that you may receive is the fit sample. So after you created that development, you now want to go into a sample that has the correct spec, because a development sample may not fit, it's just to show you what it looks like, but the fit sample is actually actually for you to try on and make sure you get the fit the way you like it. So if the sleeve is not long enough, or is too long, or if the shoulder is off, or if you want it to fit tighter or looser, that's your time to correct that sample. And then you may also receive like a sell sample, or could be known as a showroom sample. That's usually your sample to use to show it off to your buyers. So this one you want to look almost identical to your production, because this is what they'll be buying from, and when you ship to them, this is what their garment is supposed to look like, because this is what you sold to them. Some people may also use that sample for photo shoots as well. And then another sample type that you may hear frequently is your TOP. That's basically top of production. That's that first sample that's going to come off the line when they start creating your bulk production, and that's what the rest of that production is going to look like. And then for those of you that are planning to import, here's some shipping terms that you may hear often. For one is FOB, which is free on board, or you may hear it as freight on board. That's basically the cost of goods to the first initial port, so before it actually leaves the country that is exporting. So let's say you're making it in China. When it hits that China port, sometimes they may include China taxes and fees and like their duties, sometimes not. So that's something you want to discuss when they give you the pricing. Just know FOB does not include your customs fees and duties when it hits your country. So that's not your final end cost. LDP is more of your final end cost, which is landing duty paid. So that is the cost once it actually hits your country of origin, because that one will include your duties of your country. You may hear other terms like DDP and things like that. Basically, you want the pricing that's going to give you your total end cost of after it hits your country, all the fees and shipping and everything, so that way you know how to calculate your cost to sell it. And then some other things are like the documents. So you have the packing list, the commercial invoice, the waybill. Basically, the packing list is describing the product that you are receiving. The commercial invoice is more so for customs, to let them know like the HS code, which is the harmonized code, to let them know the product category. And then it also lets them know the value of your goods and like the quantity that you're receiving, so they can determine if you have to pay duties or not and how much you need to pay. And then you have your waybill, which is basically like your tracking number that lets you know that your shipping carrier has received your shipment. It shows you the route your shipment will take, and you can track it all the way till it gets to you. And then some other but really important terms that you guys should know is like MOQ. That's your minimum order quantity. QC is quality control, to check the garments to make sure it meets up to expectations. Those expectations you set in your tech pack. A PO is your purchase order. That's basically like the agreement between you and your manufacturer to let them know this is what you are ordering, this is when it needs to be delivered by, and this is how much you're paying. And then another one that probably should have thrown under design is your pattern. That's basically the template being used to cut the fabric, because it's to spec, so all they have to do is take that pattern and they can make that same garment over and over again. Line sheets are basically a document used to provide the basic information of the garments you are selling. So it'll have like maybe a style number, a sketch or a picture, the colors and sizes available, and pricing. And for the last term that I'm going to give to you for this video is lead time. Lead time is basically the start to finish time of your production process. So from the day that they're going to start to the day that that production is going to be done is your lead time. But that's it for this video. I just wanted to provide you with some terms so that way you guys can approach these manufacturers with confidence, and when you're having these conversations with them, you know exactly what they're talking about when they're throwing these terms at you. If there's any other ones that come to mind that I think you guys will hear often, I'll throw down in the comments. If there's some you've already heard and you have no idea what it is, you can also throw it down in the comments and I'll help you out. Thank you guys for watching.